Good evening. My name is Rebecca Yenowin, and I'm speaking to you as a part of Teachers Democracy Project. I realized as I prepared to write this testimony tonight about school closings, I started to have deja vu. I looked back, and in my documents, I found that in 2021, I wrote a very similar set of recommendations about school closures. But here we are again. The content of this testimony is pretty much exactly what I said 2 years ago. We know that the capital budget is inadequate to support city school facilities and that the state is at fault for the pervasive underfunding of city schools. Even with Kirwan funds and modifications to the process for requesting funds for maintenance, we are still battling a history of this inequitable investment. We're all clear on that. We also know from the research that students affected by school closures are disproportionately the most vulnerable, low income, likely to have lived in many different locations, likely to have repeated a grade, and more likely to receive special education services. Students often end up in schools that are no better academically than the schools they came from. Only a small percentage end up in top-tier schools. Students in schools facing closure experience a drop in performance in the year prior to moving. We need a system of accountability to ensure that the fate of children attending the consolidated schools is significantly better than those that they faced at their old school. We need a follow-up process and system of accountability to determine whether children are landing in a better situation and not harmed. Currently, there is no systematic way of making sure that this is the case. Communities where schools are closed deserve an honest and open assessment of the impact on their children. We would like to see the district track the kids in these closing schools and consider both the good and the harm that results. Do they get better access to better services? Is there a sense of connectedness between parents and teachers that is maintained? How well are the students achieving academically? How is student attendance in comparison to before the closure? What happened to the teachers? How many of them left the profession altogether? And if things are not improved as a result of the closure, what is the remedy? Given that we have met the state guidelines for school closings that were required under the 21st Century Building Plan, additional closures seem to be much more at our discretion now. Though I'm positive no one likes closing a school, we need to know if the hopes for better conditions and opportunities in this process actually pan out. Moreover, do we have a sense of the right number of buildings for our population and then a plan to make sure the buildings we need are functional? Without this vision, each closure is just a painful affront to the communities served by the school without the assurance that the pain was in any way worth it. Thanks so much for your time.